Now on KEZI 9 News at 4, community members are reaching out to support a man who had his bike belongings stolen from him. We'll show you how they're helping get back on track across the country.
Plus, it's been a year since Springfield passed a law that pretty much banned panhandling. So how's it working out for them? We'll have an update on that as KEZI 9 News at 4 starts now.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KEZI 9 News at 4.
I'm $13,000 in the hole, so this is where it's at. Don't let it happen to you.
A Tri-City man speaking out tonight after falling victim to a 2-year-long Facebook scam. Thank you for joining us. I'm Bob Shaper.
And I'm China Green. The scam is our top story this afternoon. KEZI 9 News reporter Tyler Jones is live in Myrtle Creek to show us what the scam cost John Francoeur.
Bob, China, in April of 2016, John Francoeur says that he was contacted by a woman who recently added him on Facebook. She told him that she had recently won money on a Facebook lottery, and when she collected her money, she saw that he was a winner too. That woman then told him that all he needed to do was collect the $35,000 was to send $1,500. He didn't have that kind of money, but they were willing to accept $400 as the first part of a payment plan. This went on for months with different excuses as to why they couldn't get that money to him. Francoeur says not only did this scam cost him $13,000 over 2 years, it also cost him his quality of life.
I had to live out of the pantry. I was living on maybe $100 a month, if that, after I paid my bills. I got food poisoning twice from eating bad food.
Francoeur says thanks to a friend, he was able to come to the realization that he was being scammed. He stopped sending money just before Christmas of 2017. And coming up on KEZI 9 News at 5, we hear from the Better Business Bureau about scams like this one and what you can do to better protect yourself. Live in Myrtle Creek, Tyler Jones, KEZI 9 News.
All right, Tyler, thanks. We have new information about that $10,000 bicycle that was stolen from a Virginia man during a cross-country bike race here in Eugene. Police are now asking for the public's help, sharing this photo. Ben Madden reached out to KEZI 9 News last night to tell us his bike was spotted around 8:45 at the KFC on River Road in Santa Clara. So Ben left his bike unlocked at the Safeway on Coburg Road Monday morning when it was stolen. He has since bought a less expensive bike and plans to finish the race.
Yeah, community members who have heard his story are now offering to help. And KEZI 9 News reporter Michael Severin is live in the studio. Mike, what are people doing about this?
Bob, China, from gear and even a place to stay, many want to help Ben get back in the race. Ben says he's been working with Eugene police to get his bike back. Luckily, he says someone found some of his dry bags on a bike path. They were able to track him down and give it back to him, and local businesses are also helping him out. Sports Hill is giving him some free bike clothing. Another business, Life Cycle, giving him more gear. Ben says even one local man let him stay at his house overnight. He says with all the new gear, he'll be heading out of town tonight or early tomorrow morning.
I'm absolutely finishing this race. I mean, I'm going to come in maybe last place, maybe second to last. I'm the guy that got his bike stolen and finished the race. That's all I want to be known as.
Take a look at this map right here. It shows the race map, and as you can see, many racers have already made it to Idaho, while some are already in Montana. The finish line is in Virginia, and again, if you see this bike around town or the suspect, call the Eugene Police Department. Coming up at 5, why so many are willing to help Ben. Live in studio, I'm Michael Severin, KEZI 9 News.
Wow, it's great to see the community is helping him out. All right, new at 4. We're looking at the growing homeless crisis in Eugene, which has led some people to complain about aggressive panhandling.
Yeah, KEZI 9 News reporter Macy Highland joins us live in the newsroom. Macy, you spoke to police in Springfield, a city that actually limits panhandling.
That's right, Bob and China. Now, a while back, Springfield actually implemented a law that restricted panhandling. Police say it has had great effects. Now, it's important to note here that the Springfield ordinance doesn't actually ban panhandling. It just doesn't allow someone to hand something to someone in the sidewalk while they're in their car. Police say it was initially thought up because this kind of activity was causing excessive accidents. But Lieutenant Scott McKee tells me it ended up having some other benefits, too.
Sort of an unintended positive outcome is that you don't have that anxiety and sometimes intimidation or fear that we hear other motorists talk about that they experience in other cities.
McKee says there can be some tensions in situations where you pull up and have to face someone asking you for money. And sometimes that can even lead to confrontation. So community members in Eugene said this is a problem they experience often. Coming up on KEZI 9 News at 5, I'll be live at a Eugene store to share with you some thoughts of Eugene officials on this kind of ordinance. Live in the newsroom, Macy Highland, KEZI 9 News.
Now, your first forecast with Chief Meteorologist Marissa Walzen.
Well, we are looking at mostly sunny skies across western Oregon, but we do have some higher cirrus clouds moving through, and that's why our skies really aren't very vibrant blue, but more kind of a milky color here, as we do have the higher clouds moving in. It is currently 73 degrees, though we are slightly above normal for this time of year, and a lot of us are looking at the 70s. The one thing, though, that we are watching is the pollen. Pollen is in the very high range for those of you that do suffer for grass pollen. Tree pollen, though, is in the low range, though the good news is both of these are down a bit from yesterday, and they're likely going to stay about the same over the next few days, though we do have some rain on the way. So that will impact, yes, the NCAA Track and Field Championships, which start tomorrow. Yes, we're going to have sunshine. Pollen will likely be a concern Wednesday, Thursday, and also going to have warm temperatures both of those days. But I am tracking some rain showers that'll cool things down, but also should knock down the pollen levels as we move into this weekend. I'll have more details about what you can expect through the rest of this week coming up in just a bit. Bob and China.
All right, so thanks. Well, the Fifth Street Market has high hopes for a Eugene Planning Commission meeting tonight. The market wants to expand in a big way, but to do that, they need the city's building height code to be changed. The Planning Commission is meeting tonight to discuss changing the height limitation in the Skinner Butte limitation zone to be about 85 feet plus 20 to 30 feet of signage on top of that. Right now, it's 80 feet in the zone. And the city initiated this amendment because Fifth Street Market is looking to expand with a new retail, residential, and hotel area.
It's an excellent idea. I think that having a height restriction on some of these newer buildings is kind of a drawback. I think Eugene's downtown needs to develop and be a little more aesthetically pleasing.
City officials say they have been working to make sure this project would have minimal impact on the views from Skinner Butte. Coming up on KEZI 9 News at 5, we'll look at how this development could affect other businesses.
And the Eugene City Planning Commission is also talking about spreading out marijuana dispensaries. All those green plus signs behind us are cannabis businesses. You can see there are a lot of them. And the halo around them represents 1,000 feet. Now, according to the city, about 70% of those businesses are closer than 1,000 feet to the next dispensary. More than a year ago, city officials started talking about implementing a 1,000-foot buffer between businesses. That's about 2.5 blocks from each other. Today, they're continuing to receive pressure from business owners and residents talking about that buffer.
Our goal with the Land Use Code Amendment is to reflect the community values and have standards that can promote the livability of the community.
Now, if that buffer zone is eventually passed, it would only affect new dispensaries. Current marijuana shops would be grandfathered in. Tonight's public hearing for the Eugene Planning Commission will be at the Lane County Public Service Building. That's in Harris Hall, starting at 6 o'clock. And if you can't make it, we'll be there and we'll have a wrap-up of the meeting on KEZI 9 News at 11.
Today in Lane County, commissioners considered opening up nearly 24 miles of country roads around Oak Ridge for Class 4 ATVs. Now, these are side-by-side ATVs with steering wheels and 4 tires. In February, the city of Oak Ridge passed a law allowing people to operate Class 4 ATVs on streets in the city, and now they want to expand that access to include county roads and Forest Service roads outside of the city. Now to an update, investigators have released the name of the pilot who died in yesterday's small plane crash near Salem. He was 40-year-old Norman Newton. Yeah, we've learned he owned a few establishments in Salem, and Christine Pedawanich spoke with his employees and friends who say he was a good guy who they're going to miss.
Alicia Van Dusseldorp's day started with a hug, much needed after she found out some terrible news.
It's been hard. I think everybody's really heartbroken over it.
Her boss and mentor, Norman Newton, was killed in a plane crash on Monday afternoon. From Sky 8, you can see the wreck just off Lardon Road Northeast in Marion County. Newton was the only one inside that yellow plane, one that's recognizable to many of the people who knew him.
We just had a party at his house like a week ago for Memorial Day, and he was showing us his plane and stuff, so we kind of knew what it looked like and saw the wreckage, so was hoping it wasn't him.
She says Newton was the kind of boss anyone would want, a mentor who was motivational with his pep talks and well-liked.
He is pretty much helped us make the best versions of ourselves. I know that sounds kind of corny, but it's true.
Van Dusseldorp says Newton also owned the Night Deposit Whiskey Library and Sugar Shack. But here at Norm's Pub, it's going to be tough.
I'm going to miss his jokes and his smile.
Still, she says she's pushing through, coming to work for Newton and the 2 little kids he leaves behind.
It's his dream, so we're just going to keep it going for him. Try to be strong.
Now, she says Newton just started flying not too long ago. She remembers telling him to be careful and that they needed him to stick around. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says right now both the NTSB and the FAA are investigating the cause of that crash. In Fire Watch now, Oregon Senator Ron Wyden pushed the interim Forest Service chief to ensure enough air tankers are available to fight wildfires this year. He says western communities are facing another significant challenge. At a hearing before the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee today, he highlighted ongoing concerns that he heard from Oregonians during his town hall meetings. The biggest being how the agency will protect communities from wildfires. Wyden says he was assured that there would be enough air tankers to fight fires this year. One person was able to get out of their home this morning after it caught fire in Drain. Happened about 9:30 in the 100 block of A Street. Firefighters say the mobile home was fully engulfed in flames when they got there, but they were able to put it out quickly.
Firefighters are trying to figure out what started a fire overnight at a Portland area McMinimum's restaurant. It happened at the Raleigh Hill location just after 3:30 this morning. Firefighters say it started by the back entrance on the outside of the pub. They got it under control pretty quick and stopped it from moving inside. Now crews are just trying to figure out how it started.
It's the back entrance into the building, and so there were some empty dry kegs that were back there, but other than that, our investigator doesn't see anything really obvious that could have ignited the fire.
Firefighters say no one was inside at the time, say no one was hurt, but they do say there was some damage to the building. Big changes are coming to the Miss America pageant, new on KZI 9 News at 4:30. We take a look at what organizers decide will stay and what will go.
But first, a parenting alert, a new warning being sent out about baby monitor cameras being hacked. Coming up next on KZI 9 News, we'll hear from 2 moms who say that scary incident happened to them.
Live, local, late breaking. This is KZI 9 News at 4 with China Green, Bob Schaefer, and Chief Meteorologist Marissa Walzin.
Now to a scary warning for new parents about baby monitors. There are new concerns about privacy. One mom is coming forward because she believes hackers broke into her baby monitor to spy on her son. And as ABC's Ariel Reshif explains, that mom isn't alone.
Never in a million years would I have expected something like this to happen.
First-time mom Jamie Summit says last week she thought she noticed something strange about the baby monitor she was given by a friend.
We were eating and noticed that the monitor started moving and panned over to our bed and paused for a few seconds and then panned back over to our son who was sleeping in his bassinet right next to our bed.
She says she disconnected the device right away, tried to cancel the app on her phone, and called the local police, but never filed a report.
We shut our bedroom door. We kind of sat for a second and just, I was crying. I was really upset, kind of realizing what was happening.
Security experts say most hackers aren't interested in the camera. They're using it as a launching point to get into a network and steal the user's ID. That's why Summit's not the only parent pressing pause on her crib cam.
And it was screaming at my daughter, screaming, "Wake up, baby, wake up, baby."
Back in 2014, the Shreks say a hacker used an internet backdoor to take control of the camera in their little girl's bedroom.
The camera then turned and looked at me, and it started screaming some obscenities at me.
It turned out the Shreks camera had a known vulnerability. The manufacturer had released an update to solve the problem, but the family was unaware. That's why experts advise that parents keep checking the manufacturer's website and download all software updates. The Juvenile Products Manufacturers Association also suggests parents consider using a strong home password and security settings to reduce the risk of vulnerability.
Wow, that's terrifying. All right, well, the more complicated device, it may be easier to hack. Security experts say when choosing a baby monitor, selecting the one with minimal features, they say increased features generally come with increased risks.
Well, a Rogue Valley cab company says ride-sharing apps are making tough competition. So now they're focusing less on taxi services and more on partnerships and deliveries. Jody Hardaway with Medford Yellow Cab says this is the only way cab companies can survive these days. The owner of one cab company says Uber is forcing her to change her target customer.
We deliver flowers, we deliver computer parts, we actually commute doctors, a transplant team that harvest organs and transplant blood. We have an account with disability or VA, so we have a lot of things that, Uber can't do those accounts.
Hardaway says her company also just bought a 15-passenger van. She says they plan to use it for a shuttle service, wine tours, wedding parties, and a lot more. Now, Uber is offering passengers new safety features. This comes after dozens of drivers were accused of sexual assault or abuse. Safety features include the ability to share trip details with trusted contacts and call 911 through the app. Uber also has new technology that can identify driver offenses as they happen. On top of this, the rideshare company says it plans to rerun background checks on drivers each and every year.
And a quick reminder about a traffic alert in Eugene. The southbound lane on Olive Street from West 17th to 18th will be closed through Friday. Crews will be replacing concrete street panels. Northbound lane will be open during the work.
Live Traffic 9 update. You can see we are looking at some slower traffic here through the greater Albany area, especially as you're working your way to I-5, the southern route here, and then also just to the southwest of Albany. As we work our way, though, to the west-southwest, Corvallis, a couple of slowdowns here or there, but otherwise traffic is moving pretty good. And then as we fly all the way into the southern Willamette Valley, looking at pretty good driving conditions, though we are seeing our slowdown here through the Delta Beltline interchange. And don't forget, some lanes will be closed due to construction tonight. More details on that coming up, but let's take a look at your forecast. I'll have that coming up next. But let's take a look at your
Now, Storm Tracker 9 weather with Chief Meteorologist Marissa Walzen.
Well, before we take a look at the forecast, I wanted to share a picture from my school visit today. This is Mr. Freed's class at Crest Lane Elementary School in Crestwell. We even got a chance to go outside today. They showed me their garden. It was beautiful outside. And of course, we talked about the weather. Their favorite thing, I think, were the different types of clouds. And there seems to be so many different types of clouds across the area. And they all at a few showers arriving late in the day on Friday. And then we'll carry a few more showers into Saturday. It will definitely be cooler, but before we get to that, it's going to be warmer than today. Looking at mid to upper 70s Wednesday and Thursday, more sunshine expected. So the weather that we have outside is just going to continue the next few days, guys.
Oh, I love it.
The 40s? Did I see 40s in the highs?
Oh, not here for sure. No. Yeah, no.
Maybe in the mountains or someplace.
Yeah.
Or Alaska. All right. A popular Rose Festival tradition is just hours away from docking in Portland. Coming up next on KZI 9 News at 4. We'll tell you everything you need to know about this week's Fleet Week.
Well, we're just a day away from some big ships docking at the Portland waterfront because Fleet Week brings both excitement and some bridge lifts.
Yeah, this is cool. Tim Gordon got a briefing on this Rose Festival tradition and explains what we can expect.
I encourage the outstanding people of Portland to come out to the downtown waterfront and see the ships and get to know the men and women of your seagoing services.
That is Rear Admiral Gary Mays, commander of Navy Region Northwest. This is video from last year, but I can tell you this year we have two Navy ships, the USS Michael Murphy and the USS Scout. The Coast Guard will be well represented too, along with the Royal Canadian Navy. We always enjoy seeing them. What we don't enjoy so much is the bridge lifts, both tomorrow and Thursday afternoon, pushing into commute times, and then Monday morning as the ships all depart. The bridge lifts take longer because of the ships, and that can really back things up. So be warned, be patient, and plan ahead to avoid the Steel, Burnside, and Broadway bridges if you can.
We know there'll be a little bit of a temporary disruption, but it's all worth it for this long-term relationship and this wonderful Portland tradition that we all enjoy.
Now remember, those bridge lift times are all estimated. They're subject to change. You can get the latest information from PBOT and TriMet on social media. Well, big changes coming to the Miss America pageant. Next on KZI 9 News at 4:30, we take a look at what organizers decided will stay and what will go.
Plus, the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles, not welcome to the White House.
Ooh.
Well, why President Trump uninvited the team from an annual tradition still ahead. And do you have a tip or a story idea? We want to hear it. You can email us at listens@kzi.com or call us at 284-KEZI. We'll be right back. KCEI 9 News at 4:30, but first, take a look at Florence.
Nice.